You need a mentor? Like, don't ever feel like you too old to need a mentor. Do you need a mentor? Do you need someone to guide you? Do you need someone to help you? I'm not talking about hold your hand and help you along the way. I'm talking about somebody that's going to give it to you real, give it to you straight, give it to you raw so you can wake up, right? Because too many of us, this generation itself, oh my Lord. Like, I know I'm not the only one that see it. This generation itself is extremely fluffy. When I ask you, do you need a mentor? It's because you're never too old to need a mentor. I love listening to motivation. I love listening to the OGs, the pros, Eric Thomas and Bob Proctor. People like them. I was watching a Eric Thomas video, and he was talking about being 36 years old and still have someone to look up to. Still have OGs that he respect and he look up to help guide him. He's like, you know what? He was teaching, I think, a high school class or something like that. And he's like, you guys are 17, 18 years old. Like, what I wouldn't do to go back when I was in high school and I didn't take it serious. Man, what I wouldn't do to take that serious. Because he would have been able to catch on sooner. He would have took it seriously sooner. He would have got put on sooner. His grit, his drive, his passion, him having the willingness to continue learning. It took him 12 years to get a 4-year degree. Anybody who knows Eric Thomas knows that specific quote. It took him 12 years to get a 4-year degree. But you know what? Some people might look at that and be like, what? It took you that long? Man, you must be stupid. I look at the positive aspect of it. What I see is the longer it took you to do it, the more professional you became. The better you got about it. The more you became the man for people to go to because you so deeply, so detailed know what to do and what not to do. I used to look at failure and be like, oh my gosh. I think maybe because I haven't really experienced real failure yet. So let's keep it to the example of being in high school. I was great in education. I studied. I listened to the teacher. I was always raising my hand to answer those questions. I took study hall and I was studying in study hall. Like, you remember study hall? Like, you had people in there sleeping. You had people in there on their phone. You had people in there just goofing. And they didn't take it seriously. Me, I was like, this is one less thing I got to do when I get home. Because I wasn't the type of child that I could go home and I had silence to be able to study. I was that child that I need silence so that I could focus. Right? So I took advantage of study hall. My test was always exceptional. I was always a 95, a 98, a 100. Anytime I ever got below that, it never went below no 80. I think it might have been once or twice I got a 60 or something like that. But in reality. But I was always that student that I gotta study because I gotta make sure I get that right grade. Then again, I had that fire under my hide when my mom was like, if you every marking period you bringing home this nonsense, oh no, that's your ad. You know what I mean? Right? So that could have been my drive. Maybe I just naturally enjoyed education, which to this day I still do. Right? And then I failed in life. I became grown and I went back to school willingly. And I went to school. I went to dental school. No, first I went to cooking school. And I passed the course, but I failed the state test. I failed the ServSafe test. All right, cool. So I think like 2 years later, I decided to go back to school. And I went to dental school this time. I completed the course. I failed the state test. I was like, what? Like, I was devastated. I was shook. You ever prepare for something and you just know you got it? Like, you can read the study guide forwards and backwards without even looking at it, got it? Like, yeah, that was me. I was so for sure until I walked into I walked into that center. I don't remember the name of it right now. I walked into there. They let you know, no cell phones. You gotta be quiet. You can't look at somebody else's computer. Raise your hand when you're done. You know what I mean? The simple rules. So I'll go in there. I sit down in front of that computer. And the questions that was being dished, I've never seen before. It was a foreign language. That's exactly how I described it to my classmates. because I believe me and one other was the only two that actually went and took the test. I was so devastated. I was. Like, I cried. I cried. Because I just knew I had it. And this was a big test. You cannot be no dental assistant without having that under your belt. You just can't. All right, cool. So I think it was like 3 months later. I was convinced. I was told, you're a very good student. You know, it's just a new world for you when it comes to this type of language. When it comes to this specific skill, right? So you just have to study. And why don't you try it again? And not that I never, but my mind frame with how good of a student I usually am, my mind frame couldn't grasp that I didn't do it right the first time with the way that I usually study or go at it. So I was like, no, I can't. I'm not doing it. Long story short, I did it again. I studied hard too. And I took the test a second time. I failed the test a second time. Again, I think this is life teaching me to get through adversity, but I just didn't realize it yet. And I took that as a sign, you know what? Maybe dental school, me being a dental assistant, is not meant for me. That's the logic that I came up with. I didn't really enjoy it. That wasn't something I was passionate about. That's something that I was trying to teach myself so I can earn higher pay to give my kids a better life than I had growing up. It didn't work out. So what ended up happening? I went back to the regular mundane type of jobs. The whole point in this is to say, no matter how old you are, you need a mentor. Because without someone guiding you, I didn't have no one guiding me. I just had people like, oh man, you doing something that's outside of our type of community comfort zone. So I was getting people that believed in me to push me, but they didn't know anything more than I knew, right? So I asked you if you need a mentor to say this. Get yourself one. You ever hear something called a life coach? Get yourself one. You might have to take a few dollars from your little extra eating out activities, your little going to the movies on the weekends, your Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus bundle subscription. Like, take something that is not serving you, not working for you, not giving you a ROI, return on your investment, for those who don't know what that means. Place it. It's called invest. Invest in something that's going to ensure your future the way that you're looking to go. I wish I knew what a mentor was back in those days. I didn't. And if I had the opportunity, I didn't have the funds. But you know what? Within the last 3 years, I will invest. I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how long it's going to take me to get there. I will invest because I understand that you cannot elevate beyond your environment, your community, your circle of people without something called education. You know, knowledge. I don't care to be clowned. I don't care for people to say, like, who are you? I ain't never seen you before. That's a plus to me because I'm indoors and I'm educating myself. I'm learning. I'm putting the new skills in practice. I'm failing faster so I know what not to do. What? Right? Along with that, you need drive, you need consistency, and you need an open mind. But you also need experience and education outside your comfort zone. If you are not where you want to be right now at this very second, then you are wasting time. And I can tell you right now, the first thing you need to do is get out of your comfort zone. Be that the people, be that the knowledge you already maintain, be that the type of life that you live, the choices that you make, the skills that you possess. You need to take your talent and your skill. You need to figure out how to harness that and make it work for you. Period. And that's how you win. That's just in a nutshell. It's a lot harder than that. I can promise you. But in a nutshell, yeah, that's it. Get yourself a mentor, life coach. You know, go to a seminar. Buy a book that's in your niche from the CEO of that niche that you admire. Like, find somebody that you really enjoy. You like the way that the style that they do the thing, right? You like the way that they always remember that prospect's hand when they shake their hand before they talk to them. You like how consistent they are. You like their ambition. You like their passion. You like their drive. You like that they're younger than you and they already got it figured out. You know what I mean? Like, don't be embarrassed for stuff like that. Don't be embarrassed that you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s and you are just now hopping on the bandwagon. At least you hopped on. All you have to do, once you get that mentor, you have hopped on. Now you can figure out, all right, where we going? I like that analogy. But I say all that to say this. It ain't never too late. Enough said.